So, it snowed a little. For you guys who are catching this later, it's standing Qigong, the standing pose, right? And so I wait a little bit to see if anyone shows up, and then we do Qigong. And Qigong is a way to activate your energy body, right? And it's not just another thing that you can do to become fit, right? It is the thing, right? So if you're catching this later, I wanted to say this in the beginning so you don't just look at me walking around and drinking coffee and not know what's happening. So this is training, right? Training. Did you guys see that? We got dual ravens. Right? That's a good sign. That's the universe telling us it's okay. Yeah, it's cold. I like the winter. I don't know about y'all. But when the clouds are like that, just touching the mountains, there's something special in the air. And it comes from when we were kids. Growing up in a ski town. Taos is a ski town. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. It's different from any other ski town we've ever been to. Because this town was here for several thousand years. The natives settled here, and the Pueblo Indians are the remnants of the Anasazi culture because they have the same cultural elements. For example, the kiva. And they build pueblos, and they're agricultural. They're not nomadic. And in Taos is the oldest multi-story building that is still inhabited in North America. So anyway, it's kind of a special place. So we're in the time between times, right? When the seen and the unseen are overlapping in the penumbra, right? The part of the shadow that is both light and shadow. Penumbra. That's one of my favorite words. I didn't know about it until I was at Art Center and I was using Alias to render, and I had set up my lighting, and the shadows were too hard, too crisp. I wanted to look more realistic, and so I found the control, right, in the drop-down dialog box for Penumbra to make your shadows fuzzy. So I wrote this at 6:19. I put a reminder out last night, and so Facebook is kind of like, I did it on IG and then it immediately posts to Facebook, and my Facebook is like, it's like high school, Like the energy there, it's like it was back in high school, you know. And so the people that know me from my childhood, hey, people from know me from my childhood, if you ain't here, then it means something happened up here. Because we'll just call you Randall. And if you follow me, you know what that means. So let's just do the Qigong. Let's just do it. When I set my coffee cup down, it makes a little ring in the snow. But it's just the tiniest little bit. So with the Qigong, it's I'm just going to say every time for the new people, it's bathing your body in energy. It's very subtle. It's like it's a Planck scale coating of energy, right, on the outside. And when you do that on the outside, it creates, gets the flow going for your toroidal field, right, which right here is the center of. If you don't know about that shit, then watch Thrive 1. Right? Let me just say one thing, right? Your thoughts are your goggles, right? Your lenses, right? Your conditioning, your indoctrination. Right? And so it gives you a way to see the world, right? And one should take off all your goggles so that you can be aware without any distortion or interference. So I keep that in mind as I'm talking. So, feet shoulder width, look down like this, and see if your knees are blocking the view of your toes. And if they are, then that's good. Not too far. But just like your knees are lined up with the edge of your toes. Right? Turn your hips under, right? Like Michael Jackson. Bam! But just leave them there. Don't flex your glutes. Push your lumbar out in order to turn your hips under without flexing those muscles. Then push your thoracic, your upper spine forward, right? And so what's this doing is straightening your spine, right? Straightening your spine. Drop your shoulders, but don't push them down. Don't make a crease between your shoulder blades. Try to flatten your back horizontally and vertically. Just realized what that looked like. And then, so you do that with your spine, get into horse stance, and act like there's a tree right in front of you that you're hugging, right? So you're creating a bow with your arms. And your hands will do 3 positions. 1 in front of the navel, then the heart, and then the third eye. We start inside and then outside. At each position, we're just going to do 3 breaths because it takes a minute. But if you do this, then you will be activating your energy body. So it's a slow, silent breath in from the belly, filling slowly as you go out, and eyes open on the horizon. And blinking is a sign of your invasive thoughts. let's do this last breath and focus on the out breath. In breath too, obviously. But, right, just one more little bit of instruction. Breathe in. And extend upward while on the breathing in. Breathe out, silent, breathe out. This is where you hear the silence. So the key on that out breath is to extend upward, right? If you watch my YouTube instruction on how to do this, bottom of the video lists 3 videos on how to do Qigong, the standing Qigong. The in breath and the out breath, right? In this, both extend upwards, right? Normally in the West, or whatever, on the out breath we compress and we collapse, right? And so you deny that, right? You deny that polarity, right? And recognize that you are the incarnation of the entire cosmos, which the background of is non-polar, right? So it's awareness of the monad, right? The monad, right? The one. That's why this shit is so powerful, you know? Yeah, because right, this is the teachings of the teacher of Bruce Lee, right? So all of his clever turns of phrase, right, were kind of taken from the tradition, from the lineage, right? And they're all true, right? This is, be like water, my friend. All of them are true, all of those things that he said, right? And so he was, true badass. But, right, there was some individuation there, right? The individual is everything, but, and some of you will balk at this, but individual means in, not, right? Div, divided, dual, not divided, dual, right? So it's a superposition of the self and the other, right? Not divided, dual, right? So when you do this training, you have this inner battle that happens in the beginning, right? And this is the battle between the observer and the observed, right? And when you merge those, you've made that alchemical marriage of the hemispheres, right? Or however you want to look at it, the dual nature of your body, right? Which is the masculine, divine feminine, right? So left brain is masculine, right? We've all heard this. Right brain is feminine, and the corpus callosum is the bridge between the two. And our society only promotes left brain action, which is the intellectualism, cleverness, right? Intellect is not intelligence. Intelligence is using the whole perception apparatus, the whole thing, not just this one half of your dark interior, right? So you make that alchemical marriage, and when you're doing qigong, you will find that the battle between the observer and the observed is raging, right? Until you can make that connection. And so being in flow state, right? It's a buzzword. All this shit becomes cliche after a while, but the reason cliches are cliche is to diminish their power, right? And their truth, right? Oh yeah, I've heard this before, I've heard that one before, but what has it done, right, to our collective situation? Absolutely nothing, right? So we have, our civilization is driven headlong to the point that we are right now, with no fucking interruptions and no change of course, right? No genius of the past has altered the course of humanity, right? And no matter what they brought, right, we have still been racing to this point. And so we are now at this critical juncture. And which is, there's an urgency there, right? But looking out into the world and seeing a problem and attempting to fix it is just a continuation of the problems, right? We'll never be able to alter it without making this alchemical marriage, right? This alchemical marriage, and using our entire perception apparatus, removing all of our polarized lenses to see the world, and being completely aware, right? And in order to do that, right, you let go of your psychological sense of self. You stop defending your identity, right? And if you look around, that's what everyone's doing, right? Everyone is fucking fighting for their identity. And so it just adds, we're just trying to put the fire out with gas, and we wonder why the fucking thing just keeps exploding in our faces. So in order to snuff that shit out, right, it needs fuel, and the fuel is our emotional angst, or our emotional unsettlement. And so when I say these kinds of things, right, it's the teachings of Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti is, I think, the only one that I have seen, right, that truly was delivering his message in a consistent fashion over the 83 years of his life. 87? Something like that. He died in 83. Yeah, and he was born in 1897, I think. Krishnamurti, right? If you don't know about him, look him up. His book, The Urgency of Change, right? And so this is the contradiction, right? Is that nothing needs to be done, right? That we are already fully evolved and formed. We don't need to make an evolution, and revolution is just a circle, right? So remember that word just means to go around and start again from the beginning. So we don't need a revolution, and we don't need evolution. We're already fully